I think I'm done with cars, though. They're too scary. You shouldn't let like a dumbass like me have an expensive car.
Post Malone says he's done with cars, but he owns a Bugatti he's too scared to drive, a 6-wheeled Velociraptor built for the apocalypse, and $1 million Earth Roamer that doubles as a mansion on wheels. And that's just the tip. In this video, we're diving inside the garage of a man who claims to hate cars, yet owns some of the wildest machines ever built. Let's begin with the 2019 Bugatti Chiron. When Post Malone copped the 2019 Bugatti Chiron, it wasn't just a flex. It was him saying, "I made it, but I still move different." The whole deal went down in late August 2019, right around the time Hollywood's bleeding was about to drop. His career was on fire, and his pockets were finally catching up to his dreams. Dude walked into OB Prestige Auto in Beverly Hills and walked out with a car worth $3.5 million, one that could outpace a jet if he sneezed too hard on the gas pedal. See, this wasn't no regular Chiron. Post's version was all white on white, a visual signature that became his thing, that ghost aesthetic. It's not random either. Post's got that clean chaos vibe, tattoos all over, messy curls, but everything around him gotta be spotless white. From the Utah mansion to his wardrobe, the man turned white into his spiritual armor. So when he ordered his Chiron in that same icy shade, it wasn't just color, it was personality. And this Bugatti was different. The customization bill alone was over $150,000, $32,000 just for comfort stitched seats, and another $10,000 for aluminum trim. The car came out the factory looking like a bullet dipped in snow. An 8.0-liter quad-turbo W16 engine under the hood pushing out 1,500 horsepower and 1,180 pound-feet of torque. The man literally owned a land rocket.
This is fucking crazy. This is not like anything. This is not like the McLaren. This is not like the Aveo. This is not like any of that shit.
That clip came straight from the YouTube video OB Prestige Auto posted when they handed Post the keys. The seller even called it a bittersweet day, like they knew they'd never see that car again. Because when you hand something like that to Post Malone, you're not just selling a vehicle, you're selling him a piece of armor for his alter ego. The funny twist? He never really drove it. Post later admitted he was terrified of it. Said just sitting inside the Chiron felt like a heart attack waiting to happen.
I think I'm done with cars, though. They're too scary. You shouldn't let like a dumbass like me have an expensive car. That's why I had to get rid of the Bugatti. I was fucking terrified to drive it.
And you can't blame him. This thing hits 261 miles per hour top speed. It's the kind of machine that doesn't want to be owned. It wants to own you. He eventually let it go around 2022, flipping it for a similar price, maybe a bit more, selling it to Steve Demopoulos, a Vegas injury lawyer who proudly flaunted it in promos. But the Chiron wasn't just an expensive paperweight, it was a symbol of a moment. In 2019, Post was ascending, Sunflower had gone multi-platinum, Hollywood's Bleeding was climbing charts, and every track he dropped was pure energy. So when he bought that Bugatti, it was almost like his way of saying, "I'm done proving myself." Except the irony hit hard. This was the one car in his garage he couldn't actually vibe with. The car was immaculate. Carbon fiber body panels, C-shaped LED taillights, an adaptive spoiler that doubled as an air brake, all tucked into that single silhouette that looked more spaceship than streetcar. But it was too perfect for his world. In one interview, he even joked that it belonged in a museum more than my driveway. That white on white finish? It wasn't just clean, it was haunting. Like looking at something divine that you knew could kill you if you looked too long. Before Utah, before the Chiron, before the fear of fast cars kicked in, there was the Aventador SV Roadster. And this was the pure rock star era of Post Malone. The 2018 Lamborghini Aventador SV Roadster. The 2018 Aventador SV Super Veloce was the kind of whip you bought when you wanted the world to know, "I made it and I'm not slowing down." Post snagged it around September 2018, just after his Beer Bongs and Bentleys album broke streaming records. At that point, he was making more in one tour leg than most folks make in a lifetime. So he walked into R1 Motorsport, teamed up with Brixton Forged, and turned a $507,000 Italian masterpiece into a street demon. White paint, carbon fiber wings, and wheels sharp enough to cut clouds. See, the Aventador was pure adrenaline. 6.5-liter V12, 750 horsepower, and a sound that could rattle heaven. When Post hit that start button, the car screamed louder than any crowd he'd ever played for. He modded it with a Novitec carbon fiber kit, upgraded exhaust, and those wide Brixton wheels that looked like spinning halos. It wasn't just an exotic, it was his identity, raw, loud, and built to flex. That clip from the R1 Motorsport build video summed it up. Even the pros were impressed. Post's Aventador wasn't just customized, it was curated. Everything from the stitch on the seats to the gloss on the rims said Posty did this, but it wasn't all surface. The car's 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds, top speed over 217 mph, and the open-top roof meant he could roll through LA feeling like a comet with face tattoos, and he did. He'd be seen late nights, downtown LA, cigar in hand, music blasting. This was before the move to Utah, back when he was living fast, burning bright. Now the Aventador's got its place in his musical DNA. The 750V line from Something Real, that's him name-dropping the SV Roadster. Oh, give me something I can feel, 720S, 750V. The 720S is a McLaren. The 750V is this very Lambo. 750 horsepower of chaos in a bottle. By 2025, reports confirm he still owns it, though it's tucked away mostly for nostalgia. This one's sentimental. It reminds him of the LA rock star he used to be before he started going off-grid. Underneath the wildness, though, there's poetry. The Aventador SV Roadster was his freedom car, the one that roared back at fame. If the Bugatti was the beast he feared, the Lambo was the one he conquered. Every curve, every rev, every time he floored it down Sunset Boulevard, it was therapy. It's easy to forget Post Malone was just a kid from Syracuse who once worked in a Chicken Express. To go from frying chicken to frying tires on a 500K Lamborghini, that's a come up you can feel. This Lambo wasn't strange because of how it looked. It was strange because of what it represented. It was the mirror of Post's chaos, polished on the outside, but screaming underneath. The car was him in motion, fast, beautiful, misunderstood, and unashamedly loud. Before Post Malone went full off-the-grid cowboy in Utah, he had a thing for cars that looked wild but could still grab groceries. The 2019 Lamborghini Urus was that in-between ride, the bridge between supercar and suburban dad life. A super SUV with more horsepower than sense, it looked like something Batman would take to Costco. The 2019 Lamborghini Urus. He copped it brand new in 2019, right when Lamborghini had just dropped the model in the States. Back then, Post was coming off beer bongs and Bentleys, swimming in plaques, money, and good vibes. The man had every reason to flex, and what better way than a 641 horsepower grocery getter that could hit 190 maps. Post kept it Arctic white naturally, to fit the clean ghost look of his garage. It wasn't modded crazy like his Aventador or Chiron. This was his daily flex. You could picture him in Utah, hoodie on, blasting Fleetwood Mac or Young Thug, windows down, snow falling. While that twin-turbo V8 growled through the canyons. Performance-wise, the Urus was nuts. It went from 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds. That's a family car that could outrun most Ferraris. It had all-wheel drive, rear-wheel steering, and something called anima drive modes. Basically Lamborghini's fancy way of saying, we built a monster that can handle anything. Snow, sand, highway, the Urus didn't care. But what really made it Post Malone's kind of strange was how normal it was. Compared to his other rides, this one was subtle. No butterfly doors, no fear factor, just clean lines and quiet menace. He used it to move through LA without too many cameras flashing. And later, when he dipped out to Utah, it became his civilian whip. Inside, it was top tier. Bang & Olufsen sound system, 10-inch dual screens, full leather, ambient lighting, the kind of cabin where you could sip a Sprite and still feel royal. Post was known to keep it low-key, so this SUV gave him that balance between flex and function. But by 2021, his life had changed. He'd started retreating from the LA madness, moving to his Utah fortress. No paparazzi, no drama, just peace and snow. That's when the Urus had to go. He sold it off to YouTuber The Stradman, one of the biggest car influencers in Utah, through Post's dad, Rich Post. It was a passing of the torch, from a global superstar to a car YouTuber living right down the road. The Stradman documented the handover like it was a holy event, and honestly, for car people, it was. Out of all his cars, this one was the most normal, and that's why it's strange. The Chiron was fear, the Aventador was chaos, but the Urus, that was comfort. The kind of car that says, I could still do 180, but I don't need to anymore. When Post Malone bought the 2021 Ford GT, it felt like a full circle moment. He'd gone from buying loud European flexes to finally bringing one home, a purebred American supercar. The 2021 Ford GT, a frozen white over black GT, limited edition, one of only about 1/350 ever built, and he was one of the few who could even get one. See, Ford doesn't just sell the GT to anyone, you gotta apply. Show you're not some random with cash, but a serious collector or public figure. Post ticked both boxes. In June 2021, he dropped a photo on Instagram, doors up, looking like an angelic spaceship, captionless, just vibes. That was the announcement. Post Malone had entered the Hall of American Car Royalty. The Ford GT ain't about comfort. It's not the kind of whip you roll up to a club in. It's what you take when you want to disappear down a runway at 200 mph. It's powered by a 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6 EcoBoost engine, spitting out 660 horsepower, and with a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission that shifts faster than you can blink. Top speed, 216 mph. 0-60, 3 seconds flat. This car is basically a Le Mans race car with license plates, the same spirit that made Ford humiliate Ferrari in the 60s. So for Post, a man who built his whole career off genre rebellion, this car was poetic justice, an outlaw American driving an outlaw American machine. The thing is, he didn't go crazy modifying it. Post kept his GT clean, quiet, and terrifyingly white, just like everything else in his collection. Carbon fiber monocoque chassis, dihedral doors, active aero wings, and the kind of downforce that could glue a man to the asphalt. Even the paint name, Frozen White, was on brand. This wasn't just aesthetic, it was consistency. He'd turned color into a lifestyle. He didn't drive it much, maybe once in a while, for the thrill. But this car was meant to be seen, not touched, like a piece of rolling art in his Utah garage. The Ford GT represented discipline. The moment Post started slowing down, buying cars because they meant something, not because they screamed louder. And you can see that shift in how he talked about them. Earlier, he was buying everything. By 2021, he was picking meaningful machines. The GT for him was heritage, a nod to American roots. The same year, he started restoring vintage Ford F-250s and Broncos for his upcoming country album F1 Trillion. And it all fit a new chapter, one where trucks and tractors mattered more than Lambos. There's no direct Ford GT lyric in his catalog, but the energy is all over his later music, that minimalist, grounded confidence. He doesn't have to yell anymore. The GT is proof of that. It's sleek, it's American, it's dangerous, and it's completely silent when it wants to be. That's Post in 2021. Not the wild boy with beers and Bentleys, but the man who found beauty in control. He still keeps it in Utah. You might catch it in a future video, or maybe you won't, because that's the point. It's the quietest car in a loud life, and that's why it fits him so perfectly. If the Bugatti was the white ghost and the Aventador was the rockstar rocket, then the McLaren Senna XP was Post Malone's silent assassin, a monster so fast it scared itself. The 2019 McLaren Senna XP. He copped this 2019 McLaren Senna XP Master of Monaco edition in December 2019, right in the middle of his Everything I Touch Turns to Platinum era. Named after the legendary Formula One driver Ayrton Senna, the car was one of only 3 ever made. Built by McLaren Beverly Hills to honor Senna's 5 consecutive wins at Monaco. Price tag? Around $1.5 million, give or take a few stacks. But this wasn't just money, it was artwork. The car came bathed in exposed carbon fiber, detailed with red and white accents to mimic the Monaco flag. Even the rear wing had a hand-painted flag with the number 12 on the side, a nod to Senna's F1 car. Post's version was labeled as XP, meaning experimental prototype, essentially a test version built before production even began. Now, imagine being so rich you own something the company tested before anyone else could even buy it. That's where Post was. But as with many of his cars, this one lived most of its life indoors, a piece of speed he barely dared to unleash. Reports say when he sold it in December 2020, the odometer read just 147 miles. That's not even a tank of gas. That's like driving from Hollywood to Malibu and back once. Let's talk specs though, because this thing is practically alien tech. Under the hood sat a 4.0-liter twin turbocharged V8 pushing 789 horsepower and 590 lb-ft of torque. 0-60 mph in 2.7 seconds. Top speed 211 mph. All that power weighed less than a Toyota Corolla thanks to a full carbon monocoque body. Even the seats were made of race-grade Alcantara and carbon shells. The car's aerodynamic design, the scoops, vents, and fins looked like someone built a jet that decided to stay on land. The XP badge is what made it mythic. It wasn't a copy. It wasn't a replica. It was a prototype that helped birth the final version of McLaren's most extreme car ever. Each piece of the car, even the red carbon fiber interior, was a tribute to Senna's Monaco victories. The door sills had Ayrton Senna's signature airbrushed on them, plus a small image of him in his number 12 McLaren MP4 car. The craftsmanship was nuts. Over 780 hours of paintwork alone went into just 3 cars. Still, he eventually let it go, sold it for roughly $2 million, which was a profit, meaning even his garage investments flipped like crypto. But there's a certain irony to it. One of the fastest cars ever made, sitting mostly still, like a loaded gun behind glass. If there's one car in Post Malone's lineup that screams grown man energy, it's his 2018 Rolls-Royce Phantom extended wheelbase. This wasn't just another flex, this was a recovery move, a spiritual upgrade. The 2018 Rolls-Royce Phantom EWB. See, back in September 2018, Post totaled his white Rolls-Royce Wraith in a West Hollywood crash. A Kia ran a red and T-boned him. Car was done for. No injuries, but it rattled him. Most people would take a break after that, not Post. He hit the dealership the next day and bought something bigger, safer, and meaner, the Phantom EWB. This was his bounce-back car, a $420,000, $550,000 tank wrapped in serenity. Still white, of course. The man's brand is basically built around snow tones at this point. Under the hood, a 6.75-liter twin-turbo V12, pushing 563 horsepower and 664 lb-ft of torque. Quiet but deadly. 0-60 in 4.6 seconds. You could do donuts in silence if you wanted to, but the Phantom wasn't about speed, it was about peace. He'd been through the chaos, plane emergencies, robberies, break-ins, car crashes. 2018 was rough. The Phantom EWB became his escape pod, a rolling therapist. Inside, it's pure heaven. The Starlight headliner lights up like a galaxy above your head. There's a built-in fridge, massage chairs, and even fold-out picnic tables. The carpets, deeper than a church confession. Everything from the door panels to the headrests screams wealth that doesn't need to shout. This car represents his turning point. He started leaving behind the wild party energy and leaning into comfort, craftsmanship, class. And ironically, that's exactly when he made one of his most timeless tracks, Wow. He drops the line, no drinks in the Rolls Royce, just got it. That was him talking about this very car. It's not just a lyric, it's a timestamp. Released right after the Wraith crash, it's basically him saying, I've matured now, don't spill nothing in my new ride. The Phantom became his daily. He took it everywhere, tours, video shoots, random Walmart runs. It even made a cameo in his Saint-Tropez music video, where it shined under the sun like a mobile palace. What makes the Phantom strange isn't its price or design, it's how humble it feels for a man like Post. Most rappers get a Phantom to flex. He got one to heal. The car is quiet enough to make you think, strong enough to make you feel safe, and classy enough to make you forget about chaos. And that's really Post in a nutshell, the duality. He's the same guy who can roll up in a monster truck one day and then glide in a Phantom the next, both in all white, both perfectly balanced between peace and power. So while everyone else was chasing hypercars, Post was already finding stillness. The Rolls-Royce Phantom EWB wasn't just his biggest car, it was his biggest step toward maturity. By the time Post Malone grabbed his 2021 Rolls-Royce Cullinan Black Badge, he was no longer just a musician, he was a brand, but a quiet one. Utah mountains, secluded lifestyle, family around, and a new focus on calm. That's what made this SUV the perfect fit. The 2021 Rolls-Royce Cullinan Black Badge. The Cullinan Black Badge was basically Rolls-Royce saying, we can make luxury dark. It's the most powerful SUV Rolls ever made, and Post's version, the cleanest in existence. An all white-on-white tank that could glide through snow like a Phantom in boots. He added it to his garage sometime around late 2021, right after selling off a few of his flashier rides. The Black Badge edition cost roughly $450,000, $480,000, but that was before customization. Post's mods pushed it easily past $500,000. He worked with OB Prestige Auto again, the same crew who sold him his Bugatti, to give the Cullinan the same ethereal finish. Let's get one thing straight. The Cullinan isn't your average SUV. This thing's a mansion on wheels. It's got a 6.75-liter twin-turbocharged V12, same power plant as the Phantom, tuned to 600 horsepower and 664 lb-ft of torque. But unlike the Phantom, it rides high, real high. Think rapper luxury meets ranch utility. Inside, you're looking at perfection. The Starlight ceiling, hand-stitched leather, polished black titanium accents, and even custom monogram headrests embroidered with Postico. The man turned a luxury SUV into a rolling recording booth, plush, sealed, and spiritually calm. The Black Badge name is symbolic. Rolls created it for people who didn't fit the old money stereotype, the rebels who redefined wealth. Exactly what Post represents. He didn't inherit, he earned. The Cullinan Black Badge came with the Spirit of Ecstasy hood ornament dipped in black chrome, a detail that says, I'm quiet, but I'm powerful, and he's been spotted using it often. Utah paparazzi caught him pulling up to Smith's grocery in it once. No entourage, just Post in sweats and Crocs, buying snacks. That's how unbothered this man's life has become. become. In a way, this SUV was his version of off-road royalty, a ride that could handle dirt trails and high society driveways equally. He once told Billboard that the move to Utah was the best decision of his life, explaining that the peace out there helped him focus and heal. And what better metaphor for that lifestyle than this car, silent, elevated, and untouchably white. So what makes the Cullinan strange? It's not the cost or even the power, it's the contradiction. Here's a man who came from the suburbs of Syracuse, made millions off emotional chaos, and now drives the quietest, most composed SUV in the game. It's the ultimate hood flex, finding peace and paying cash for it. Now, this is where things get crazy. Like Mad Max meets Country Boy Rich. Post Malone's Hennessy Velociraptor 666 isn't just a truck, it's a tank that decided to get street legal. The Hennessy Velociraptor 666. He added it to his lineup around 2020 after his move to Utah. You could tell this man had transitioned from rapper life to survivalist luxury. The Velociraptor is based on a Ford F-150 Raptor, but Hennessy Performance turns it into something ridiculous, a 6-wheel drive monster that looks like it could plow through an avalanche. We're talking a 600 horsepower twin turbocharged V6, upgraded Fox suspension, 20-inch wheels, off-road tires, LED bars, and a completely extended frame to accommodate the third axle. The price tag, around $350,000, before Post even touched it with customization. He reportedly ordered it straight from Hennessy Performance Engineering in Texas, a company famous for turning regular trucks into apocalypse vehicles. John Hennessy himself once called the 6wax6 the ultimate expression of American excess. So, naturally, Post had to have one. But here's the twist. This truck wasn't about showing off. It was about isolation, the perfect ride for a man who'd escaped the noise. When Post moved to his 13,000 square foot Utah mansion, surrounded by open fields and snowy ridges, he started collecting useful vehicles, ones that fit the environment. He had snowmobiles, four-wheelers, and then this, the 6x6. It's a truck you could survive the end of the world in. Literally, it's got space for 6, a bed big enough to fit a dirt bike, and a winch system that could pull another truck out of a mud pit. For Post, who loves outdoor life, hunting, fishing, riding, it was the perfect country flex. In interviews, he's mentioned how much he values being off the grid. In one chat with the Wall Street Journal, he said, "I just wanted space to breathe, man. Out here, I can drive, I can build, I can think." That's exactly what this truck symbolizes. Breathing room, freedom. You can't picture him whipping a Bugatti through a dirt road, but a 6i6? Oh yeah, that's his element. And of course, it's white. Every car in his lineup has to match the vibe, that angelic outlaw energy. Clean but wild. The Velociraptor 6i6 is probably the most Utah thing Post Malone owns. It looks like it was born for the mountains. What makes this car strange isn't its size or price, it's how it fits into the story. A rapper known for songs about heartbreak and Hollywood chaos, now rolling around in a truck built for the apocalypse. It's symbolic, the end of an era. The flashy LA Post died the moment this 6x6 rolled into his driveway. The man who once raced Lambos through Melrose now drives something that could tow a Lambo uphill. That's growth, in 6 wheels and 600 horsepower. If every car in Post Malone's garage tells a piece of his story, then the Earth Roamer 15 HD is the final chapter, the moment he went full hermit billionaire. The Earth Roamer 50 HD. The Earth Roamer 50 HD isn't a car, it's a rolling mansion. Built on a Ford F-750 chassis, it's an off-grid home designed for the kind of people who could survive the apocalypse in style. Post's version, an all-white, fully customized 2025 model, is estimated to cost around $1.2 million. When he bought it in early 2025, it marked the peak of his Utah transformation. By that point, Post had sold off several supercars, the Chiron, the Senna, and replaced them with practical survivalist luxury. This Earth Roamer was his final boss vehicle, the crown jewel of self-sufficiency. Under the hood, a 6.7-liter turbo diesel V8 with 330 horsepower and a monstrous 750 lb-ft of torque. The Xfeed HD isn't about speed, it's about power, range, and comfort. It's built to roam the wilderness indefinitely, with solar panels, lithium batteries, and 115 gallons of fresh water. The interior looks like something out of a luxury penthouse: handcrafted wood, leather upholstery, flat-screen TVs, and a queen-size bed. You can live in it for weeks without plugging in. The company itself confirmed Post as a client back in 2024, teasing that a Grammy-winning artist had ordered a custom all-white XV HD for life off the grid. And when photos leaked from Utah Utah. A white earth roamer parked on his property, license plate blacked out. The internet put two and two together. This truck's story is poetic. After years of buying speed, fame, and flash, Post went for silence. This thing doesn't roar, it hums. It's powered by the sun, built for the mountains, and ready to drive forever. And that fits perfectly with who he's become. A man who once rapped about diamonds and Lambos, now posting pictures of fishing trips and guitars. The earth roamer isn't strange because it's expensive. It's strange because of what it represents. Post went from a kid obsessed with Bentleys to a man obsessed with peace of mind. He doesn't need LA anymore. He doesn't need crowds. Now he's got a home that moves with him, a fortress on wheels that can disappear into the desert for months. When he dropped his country-inspired album F1 Trillion in 2024, fans noticed the tone shift, slower, grounded, full of gratitude. The earth roamer matches that perfectly, an artist retreat on wheels. Out of all the rare cars and multi-million-dollar machines in Post Malone's garage, the one that truly feels personal is also the cheapest. The 1992 Ford Explorer, the oddball among titans. The 1992 Ford Explorer. At first glance, it's confusing. Why would a guy who owns Bugattis, Rolls-Royces, and six-wheeled trucks keep a boxy old Explorer from the early 90s? But if you know Post, you know nostalgia runs deep. He grew up middle class in Syracuse, New York, and later in Grapevine, Texas, the kind of suburbs where Explorers were everywhere. His dad, Rich Post, worked for the Dallas Cowboys, and young Post would tag along to games, riding in trucks just like that. So this Explorer, it's not a car. It's a memory he could drive. The 1992 Explorer in his garage isn't just any model though. He restored it himself in Utah with help from Velocity Restorations, the same company building his vintage Ford trucks. They rebuilt it from the ground up. New 5.0-liter V8 crate engine, custom white paint job, of course, lifted suspension, retro wheels and off-road tires, and a modernized interior with Bluetooth, touchscreen audio, and leather stitching. It's basically a 2025 comfort level wrapped in a 1992 body. The man literally reinvented nostalgia. When fans spotted it on his Utah property, it became a meme for a while. Posty's Apocalypse SUV starter kit. But to him, it's personal. It's not about flexing, it's about remembering. It also fits his whole vintage Americana vibe lately. Cowboy boots, guitars, and tattoos fading into flannel shirts. This truck might not outrun a McLaren, but it outlives them all. He's even been seen in Utah rolling it down mountain roads, windows down, smoking a cig, smiling like he's 18 again. That's the point. Post Malone's strange car collection isn't strange because it's random. It's strange because it tells his story backward. He started with power, ended with peace. He went from 1,500 horsepower Bugattis to a 1992 Ford with soul. And that's exactly what makes him one of the most interesting car collectors alive. He doesn't buy what's trendy, he buys what tells his story.